Hello everyone and welcome back to the Velocity channel, where this is your bridge to financial freedom. Today we're going to go ahead and tackle a well-known cash flow sucking loan of $49,000 at 10%. It's not as high as our usual, but it's still high, right? And that's okay, because we're going to absolutely trash this and we're going to eliminate this loan very quickly. $907 each and every month. I want to go ahead and get into how you pay this off quickly, okay? Not in the 72 months they want you to, all right? Because that's the term here, but in way less time. But before we do that, please like, share, and subscribe so that everyone around the world can know the power of velocity banking. Now, here we have what is called an amortization table. Many of you are familiar with this. So perhaps you have a mortgage. Of course, you got a car loan, other loans. They go by the amortization table many times. What people don't realize is that that minimum monthly payment works in the bank's favor most of the time. Now, in this example, the bank is actually getting less than the individual. So that $499 you see, that's going towards the principal. So it is more. However, it's still a crime because we need all of the money to come to us. So how are we going to do that? Let's get into it. All right. Here we have the amortization telling us on the first month, when you pay that $907, this is how they're going to split it. $408 towards the bank, and then $499 towards that principal, okay? Then on the 13th month, okay, because of course you've got the second month and the third month, I wanted to go ahead and share with you what we have for just the 37 months here, okay? On the 13th month, $356 towards the bank, while $551 is going towards principal. So that's a little better, all right? The 25th month, all right? $298 towards interest, $609 towards the principal. Then on the 37th month, and you're going to see why I stopped at 37, $234 in interest, $673 in principal. Now, what we want to do is we don't want to pay how the bank is telling us to pay. Why? Well, as you can see, it's because it's to their advantage. And if it was legal, they do even more. They would charge miscellaneous fees. They would put so that this number could be way bigger than this number. Now, at this time, I want you to note the difference between the first month and the 13th month. You got that? Note the difference between the 13th month and the 25th month. Got that one? All right. And now note the difference between the 25th month and the 37th month. You got that? All right. So now that you know the amortization table, how that works, I also want to clue you in on a little known secret. And that is you can use your line of credit to destroy in a loan. However, for those that don't want to, okay? We're not discriminating. You can use just the $1,000, right? To destroy this loan in way less time as well, okay? Let's go ahead and get into how we're going to do that. So if you have the $1,000, all right? And you see that you have that $1,000 in cash flow, perhaps there's a little bit more, perhaps there's less. You can take that extra and actually deploy it, because remember, your money is soldiers, all right? You can deploy it towards that interest. So let's say instead of paying like the bank wants you to pay, let's do that $1,000, right? And we're going to deploy it towards that $49,000. What does that do? Okay, because first of all, it's only going towards the principal. So automatically you have what's going to the bank coming to you instead, meaning it's going towards that principal to pay it off. All right. Once you hit that $1,000 towards the 49, what does the $49,000, what does it go? It goes down to 48,000. Okay. So my next question is, what is the interest feeding off of? Is it still feeding off the 49,000? Or is it now feeding off of the 48,000? Okay, it's feeding off of the 48,000 now. That's why the interest is significantly lower, and what would have gone to the interest is now coming towards the principal. Okay, let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Now remember, you're taking money that you have and you're doing what you perhaps never have done before, and that is allocate it a different way. Does that make sense? So instead of allocating it towards maybe something else that is consumer oriented, you're allocating it to paying off this debt so that, see, what's your goal? It can't just be to pay off debt and to feel free. It's got to be to capture this cash flow, all right? You're capturing the cash flow because you can do more with it than the bank can, because no one cares about your money like you, all right? Now, if we go over here and continue those monthly $1,000 payments, we're going to find something. We're going to find that the interest has been significantly reduced month over month. This is what I mean. If you look towards the traditional banking way of doing things, you'll see a difference in interest, won't you? So we got 408 minus 356, right? What is that? $48, all right? Now, over here, okay, first and the 13th month, we have a difference here of what? More than $48, because it's the difference between 408 and 251. Man, that's a lot. That's like $157, right? And so this is what I mean. If you're looking at this principal here, that $1,000, we're at the $1,499 towards the principal. And remember, the more that principal is being reduced, the more or the less that interest is being taken, all right? And the more principal you are going to have. So the 13th month, $251, the principal, $1,656. And then in the 25th month, we've got $77 going to the bank. Isn't that awesome? They're getting way less. And that's where it's at. Because what they were going to get, you now have, and you're applying it to the principal, $1,830. Now, you may be asking the question, CJ, you didn't put anything in the 37th month. I know, I didn't. Keen observation. I didn't put anything in the 37th month. Do you know why that is? Because in the 30th month, you would have paid $49,000 at 10% off. But you see, if you're paying it in way less time, okay, and if you're paying it at this rate, you're not paying it at 10%. It's way less than 10%. And so those that have a lower interest rate, right, like 5 or 3%, and they've got great credit scores, excellent credit scores, right, maybe 2% interest rate, they're still going to be in that loan for 72 months because they don't know how money works. While you, with a 5 or my friend had a 392, right? You with a 392 credit score getting bad loans, right? You're out of here. You're out of that loan in 30 months. I want you to wrap your head around that, okay? And so forget the 37th month. Forget paying over $16,000 in interest like over here, okay? Forget that. It's actually 16,000 plus. Right over here, we're only paying 6,366. We're out in 2.5 years. Over here, they want you to be out in 6 years, right? And so you saved what, over $9,000? But the biggest thing that you saved, the biggest thing that you saved was time. Because you're doing more than just erasing debt. When you operate your finances in this manner, when you implement the velocity banking method, you're doing more than eliminating debt. You're collapsing time. You're saving and you're restoring to yourself time. Now, for those of you who don't know, we actually have software that you put all these numbers in. And let's say you can't do the $1,000 each and every month. That's okay. It'll find the money for you. And in many cases, actually show you how to pay this off in even less time. Can you imagine not being able to do the $1,000 each month? However, because of the money and the way that it's allocated and the suggestions that are put towards you, you're actually paying this off in way less than 2.5 years. Why? Well, because there's limitations, isn't it? There's limitations to humans. There's limitations to the human mind. But when you have something that's all its job is to calculate and to make sure that you're debt free, not in 30 years, but in 5 to 7 years, of course, it's something totally different. I'd love for you to hop on the webinar tonight. Matter of fact, it's about 12:45 right now. It's about going to be in 5.5 hours. But once you register and everything, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about as well. I want you to do this in your life. Implement this in your life. And then you'll be able to retire in 5 to 7 years. You're not going to have to worry about, man, is my 401k or my IRA going to make it? Because you'll realize, man, I put $50,000 inside of my IRA. And may I ask you a question? What was your return on that $50,000? Is it giving you a return of 10%, 9%, 1%? But if you pay off wisely, saving all in interest, this is the total interest that you'll be paying, right? If you pay this off, do you know what your return? Do you know what your return is when you pay this loan off in that manner? In 2.5 years, your return is $907 each and every month. Now, if you ask me, that seems like a way better return than any retirement fund, any retirement account. And so, folks, that's why I urge you, please, let's get into the cash flow game. Let's get into real estate. Let's get into some of these areas that perhaps we were not taught, but I think it's about time that we learn, get in it, and start making the cash flow that we deserve. Listen, folks, I'm going to see you in another video. Implement this today. Screenshot it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what video you want to see, and we'll go ahead and make it happen. All right? God bless you, and we will see you in another video.